So this is Donald Trump, and he's sleeping on the job. You can see it with your own eyes, and actually there's multiple angles of this, multiple times. Trump is sleeping. And he's supposed to be hosting this meeting. This is a Board of Peace meeting for him. And at the Board of Peace meeting, while he's sleeping, he must be dreaming about Iran or something, as apparently we're going to attack Iran. Trump appears ready to attack Iran as U.S. strike force takes shape. This is just headlines just a few minutes ago, and basically they are moving lots of military assets into the region. You can see there's destroyers, ships, carriers, fighters, jets, drones, basically surrounding Iran is essentially what they're doing. And this costs a lot of money to do this stuff. Even if we don't attack Iran, you're wasting money on these things, and you're supposedly bragging about, that you love peace, yet you're sleeping through your own meeting. I'm always curious how Fox News spins this stuff, right? You're just always like, okay, what's Fox up to? And you can actually see it right here. This is Fox's headline right now. They say Russia urges Iran. So they're basically focusing on what is Russia saying. So we're at Fox News, right? And then you can look to the lower right. They then say, okay, you have to focus on the certain group of people, right? Which know who it is. And that's basically Fox News. They're kind of manipulate you to think about only certain kinds of things. And then when you go back to Trump, when he's awake, he's saying, guys, the USA is going to give $10 billion to his Board of Peace. Wow, fantastic. That's definitely where I want my tax dollars to go. And I want to point this stuff out so clearly because sometimes the MAGA people, they always say the same thing. But Chris, you're so dumb. I voted for Trump because we have to deport all the people I don't like. That's exactly what I want to do, right? That's what I hate about this world. Is this those people? I hate those people, all right? And then they vote for Trump, and then they wonder why their life doesn't get better, and then I'm showing you why. It's expensive to run military operations. It's expensive. All your money goes to that. And then when they're not doing that, it's expensive to do their reconstruction plan in the Middle East, essentially what they're doing here. And then Jared Kushner will come up and he'll say, but guys, I promise you, this is not about personal gain. That $10 billion or however much we're trying to get, it's not about personal gain. It's about, well, let's be honest, we're building hotels and casinos and such, and pay no attention to that plan that I showed you guys before in the last meeting of the Board of Peace, where literally they showed you all these plans for the stuff that they want to do. And it's such an obvious grift. And to me, it's frustrating because I'm just telling you the truth, guys. Like, even if I disagree with MAGA on certain stuff, I still want their kids that have good schools, have healthcare, have transportation, right? It's not like I want people to suffer. I mean, this is why I show you guys these things, because this is why your life doesn't get better. It's because of these kind of grifts. And the easiest way to describe it is these kind of people, they make, say, $10,000, $20,000 an hour, and they convince the people that make $20 an hour that somehow the people making $10 an hour are cheating you. That's basically how it plays out. And I get it. If you watch Fox News all day, every day, they get you thinking, guys, we got to pay attention to what Russia says. That was like literally their headlines. And so then you got to go to the more basic stuff. It's like, okay, so what is Trump up to? He's up putting up banners of himself. I guess this was today. The Department of Justice, he got this big banner of Trump. Isn't this crazy? And it doesn't seem real. It seems like those ridiculous things that you see in a Marvel movie where the Marvel villain hangs up banners of himself. I'm going to take over the world, right? You guys know those kind of movies. It's because it's so dumb. It only happens in movies basically for, I don't know how to say it. It's happening in real estate. It's real. It says make America safe again, I guess is the message. And he's putting a picture of his face everywhere. Now I want to show you this because you always think that maybe, USA is the only place in the world. It's not. Actually, here in Korea, this is our news on Trump. They show you his social media and basically make fun of him. He wants to be king, Superman. He wants to be a Sith. He wants to be the Pope, right? And just think about this. Just think about this. Imagine, you're in USA and you saw news of another world leader putting up these really weird stuff on social media. Like, what would you think about said person? And then, like, why are you hanging up banners? Like, what are you doing? Right? And they just show you what's going on, And then you're trying to sell us to go to the national park's going to be really expensive. Now you want to put your face on money. This just came out a few hours ago in the Korean news. And they basically just show you what's going on in USA. And it's like so obvious. Like, why do you want to put your name on everything, basically? Right? It's so stupid. And then this is something else that they show us here in Korea. So people ask about this stuff. Yeah, they show us the Epstein stuff. They show us Lutnick, right? They show how basically Lutnick's like dirt, greasy, dirty, however you want to call the dude. It's obvious. They show that, and it's not just that they show Lutnick or Trump's people. It's the way that they show them. So they'll like put them next to evidence. They'll play their own words and just basically make them look bad by telling the truth. That's what it ends up being. And that's all you have to do with any of these kind of stuff is just tell the truth of what happened, show the facts, these kind of things, right? And they make it clear with dates, right? And it just becomes really, really obvious. And so then when you see the evidence and you see Lynn Lutnick speak, you're just like, oh my God, these people are terrible. And that's essentially what, all you have to do is just show who they are. Like, for example, today, if I just show you Trump sleeping, it just should be obvious. This guy is completely unqualified. And the sleeping thing alone, let's say, for example, his policies are fantastic and he's sleeping on the job, still not great, right? But then you put together sleeping on the job and your policies are terrible and you're starting a war and not only are you spending a bunch of money and now you're telling us, okay, now we need $10 billion for your stupid board of peace. I mean, it's obviously like, to me, it's obvious as the worst president in history. I don't think we've seen anything like this. And there he is sleeping again. And I'm sure lots of channels will find even yet more angles of Trump sleeping. If you want to watch Trump sleeping, you can certainly do that. When he is awake, though, then he's like talking about Iran. We'll take a look what he has to say here.
They've had some very interesting meetings having to do with, as you know, Iran is a hotspot right now, and they're meeting, and they have a good relationship with the representatives of Iran, and, good talks are being had. It's proven to be, over the years, not easy to make a meaningful deal with Iran. We have to make a meaningful deal. Otherwise,
and what's weird when he's talking about meaningful deal, then he'll say otherwise bad things will happen or whatever. He comes across as really low energy to me. I think it's pretty obvious here. I mean, who knows what's going on in Trumper's life? Here he is then asking about the money or telling us about the $10 billion for him.
And I want to let you know that the United States is going to make a contribution of $10 billion to the Board of Peace. Thank you. And we've had great support for that number.
Support for who? Where did we get the $10 billion? Did Congress approve that these kind of things? I mean, it's obvious. All I'm just doing is just showing you what's going on. And then you check the markets. This is the headlines right now. Stocks slide as traders assess potential Iran conflict. Some people will say, well, Chris, you're so dumb. We got to focus about Epstein all day, every day, because Trump just wants to talk about a war because it's all about Epstein. That's just part of it. Honestly, that's just part of it. The Epstein stuff just represents who these class of people are. It doesn't necessarily mean that is the only news in the world. I'm just saying that you have to look at all of it together, right? Don't ignore the jobs. Don't ignore the economy. Don't ignore the money stuff. And the thing that's going to end up happening, in my opinion, when you say, do a war with Iran or whatever, it's just going to keep draining the money. Chances are Trump will go into massive deficit spending, even more so than prior was calculated. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, basically just like, you're going to add, tons of national debt plus deficit spending. I mean, because like we're spending more than we take in, essentially, right? And then if other countries are like, I just don't want to, buy any more U.S. debt, that raise borrowing costs for everyone, and things get worse and worse and worse. And then when people actually really do need help, be it with FEMA or getting good information about what's going on with, jobs in USA and employment or whatever, like we won't even have that. Like it's just so obvious how everything is just completely breaking down. And then all he really cares about is hanging up pictures of himself. And so that's why I show you, say, how things are reported and portrayed in here in Korea, where they just show you, hey, look at this dude's social media. Isn't he whacked out? Totally. It's obvious, right? Hey, look at the people who work for Trump. Hey, look at, they're all tied to the Epstein stuff. They're all dirty people, right? It's obvious. And then you just look at, hey, the dude's sleeping. Look at what he says. Hey, I'm going to get your $10 billion. Thank you, right? It's ridiculous. And so I'm more frustrated today than I guess normal. Because I look at what's happening around the world. So, for example, here in Korea, you can watch my last video. The former president was corrupt, basically. Declared an illegal martial law. He gets life in prison. They were actually pushing for the death penalty in Korea. And then you look over to the UK, and they just arrested a former prince. I think they just released the person. It was just reported just a few minutes ago. But there's investigations on that. And people in the UK were saying that's actually really big news when you go after the royals, because usually the police don't just show up at their house unannounced kind of stuff. But it just shows that no one is above the law, and other countries do have rule of law. And I think the main problem with the Trumpy stuff right now is Trump's going to do what Trump and his family do, right? They're grifters and scammers or whatever, right? But it's all the people that go along with it. It's the Fox Newses, it's the MAGAs. And there's a lot of people out there that are just basically followers, and they'll just do whatever Fox says. And so that's why it's weird when you look at the stuff over at Fox, and it just becomes progressively more whacked out. So you can see the messages today and which stories they want to promote or not promote. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.